Hello everyone, welcome to today's news charter. Let's begin with a prelims practice question. Take a look at this question, a very simple question from space. Usually in science and technology, you will get this kind of question, so you should be aware of all the terms. What is the term used to describe a dying star in the final stages of stellar evolution? Stellar evolution is the process that a star undergoes from the beginning till the end of its life. So, what is the term used to describe a dying star in the final stage? So, we have to go through the options. We cannot just like that come up with a term because too many terms are there with respect to space. White dwarf star. White dwarf star is a dying star. But the problem here is white dwarf is when the entire fuel has got over, when it is completely over. Then it is a white dwarf. Here they are asking about a dying star, which is in the process, in the final stage. So that is not an answer. Pulsar is actually a neutron star which gives out a lot of electromagnetic pulses. So that is not the option. Red giant star. Red giant is the answer because a red giant is the stage when a very big star is going to die, when it is in the last final stage of its stellar evolution. Supernova is the blasting of a star. Excess amount of energy gets released. So that is not the answer. So the answer is C. Go through all the topics that is related to space. Any terms you come across in the news, you have to know the definition. Antares. Similar to what we were discussing earlier, Antares is again a space related term. So we need to know exactly what it is. Antares is related to a constellation known as Scorpius. So go through this particular line. It is very important. What is a constellation? A collection of stars providing or representing a group in the form of in any particular form, in any particular diagrammatic form. So for example, here, if you look at this particular representation, you will get to know multiple stars are there: Shola, Lesat, Antares, M4, etc. So this entire constellation is known as Scorpius because it looks like a scorpion. So this is the tail end of the scorpion. This is the tail end of the scorpion. This is the head of the scorpion. So it looks like a scorpion, so they have called it as Scorpius. So in this same way, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, several other constellations are there. So Antares is a very bright and a very big star that is located in the constellation known as Scorpius. Why is it in news? Just that recently, a Bengaluru-based institute known as Indian Institute of Astrophysics has filmed the process of passing of moon in front of Antares. The moon was passing in front of Antares, because of which it had completely eclipsed the Antares. This phenomenon was recorded from Bangalore, and such a phenomenon was visible only from the southern part of India because moon's location with Earth is fixed. That is the reason. So we need to know the basics about Antares in case if you get a question in prelims. It is a red giant star, which we discussed earlier. It is in the end phase of its evolution, and it is the brightest star in this entire constellation of Scorpius. It is a very old star. Of course, any red giant is a very old star that is no longer very hot and very bright because of its enormous size. So just the basics you need to know. I hope you will go through it very well. Water ice in polar craters of the moon. So from the time Chandrayaan 1 was one started its observation, we came to know that water is present in moon. And recently it has been discovered that heavy amount of water is present, not just normal presence, heavy amount of water is present, and the water is present in icy format. So water ice is present in polar craters also. Earlier, it was thought that in moon, when we talk about moon, we have the North Pole and the South Pole. So earlier it was thought that it is in the North Pole and South Pole of the moon we have water because sun rays seldom falls in this region, right? But recently it has been discovered that even craters are places inside the moon. So it will be of different sizes. Landmass. So even these craters hold water is what has been discovered. So a recent study reveals that there is enhanced possibility of water ice occurrence in polar craters of the moon. In polar craters, there are high probability of water available. The amount of subsurface ice in the first couple of meter is about 5 to 8 times larger than that of the poles. So this is a very significant finding. It has been found that when you just dig the subsurface of the moon, the amount of water the subsurface of the moon holds is 5 to 8 times that of the surface water in pole. So under the moon, in the underlying layers, the amount of water is extremely high when you compare with the surface layer. So this is a very significant finding. The extent of water ice in northern polar region is twice that of southern polar region. So these are normal facts, but you need to remember why am I telling it is important? Because in the recent times, the question pattern has changed. We are getting statement based questions. So there will be three different statements provided, right? There will be three different statements provided. For statement one, for example, recently it was discovered that the subsurface water in moon is higher than that of the poles, higher than that of the surface. Second statement, it will be like this. The amount of water in northern pole is twice that of the southern pole. And third statement, Chandrayaan experiment of India identified the availability of water in moon. So here all the three statements are correct. So this is the reason we need to study things in such a way that it is in a detailed manner. Do not miss out on any particular detail. As for the origin of this ice, how this originated. So this again a very important point of how ice originated, how water originated in moon. What we tell about Earth, we tell that it is because of volcanization. When volcanic eruption happened, too much of gases came out, along with it, carbon dioxide, oxygen, everything came out. The same is told about the water availability in moon also. Subsurface water ice in the lunar pole is outgassing during volcanism. In Imbrian period is around 3 billion years ago. That data is not required. What you need to know is because of volcanism, the water is available in moon surface also. So this point is very important. Today there were more news from science and technology. And science and technology is very important from current affairs point of view. So you need to know about it. Quarks and gluons. Quarks and gluons are very important subatomic particles. You need to know what are quarks. Quarks are very tiny particles. They are the basic building blocks of all the atoms. So we know that every atom will have a nucleus. In the nucleus, we have the neutrons and protons, and along with the nucleus, this electrons will keep rotating. So this is the fundamentals everyone know about. But the basic idea is electrons are the smallest particle. But when we talk about protons and neutrons which combine in the nucleus. For example, if this is the nucleus of an atom, let's say this is the nucleus of an atom. So in this nucleus, we have multiple proton and multiple neutrons also completely combined inside. So along with this, we will have small electrons which are revolving. Small electrons will be revolving around this nucleus in certain orbit, right? So this is the basic idea. Now we are telling that electron is the smallest particle, but when we talk about protons and neutrons, they are composed of quarks. Quarks is the smallest body. Quark is the tiniest body which constitute the protons and neutron, right? So this is the basic idea about quark. So what is the property of quark? They have fractional electric charge. Some small amount of electric charge will be there and experience all known forces of the universe. They combine to form composite particles known as hadrons. So this point is also important. What exactly is hadron? When two or three quarks or more than that number combine together, they become a hadron. So neutron is a hadron, proton is also a hadron. Here we talk about 6 different types of quarks. What are the 6 different types of quark? Up, down, charm, strange, top, and bottom. Up, down, charm, strange, top, and bottom. Up and down, top and bottom, very easy to remember. Charm and strange. Now, do we have to get inside and study about the property of each and every type of quark? That's not required because it is too much scientific in nature. So that much information will not be asked. At least you need to know 6 different types of quarks are there. Recently, there has been a study in the University of Helsinki which gave details that most massive neutron stars have 80 to 90% chance of being quark matter. When a star reaches its final destination, when the star reaches its end of time, what happens is stars have high amount of gravitation. Stars give out light because of nuclear fusion. So the fuel will get over at some point of time, but the gravitational force will still be there. So when the fuel gets over, the gravitational force will pull the entire star inside and it becomes a neutron star if the star size is very big. Very big stars at the end of its fuel will collapse inside itself, which will result in a neutron star. That means the entire star will become a neutron. So in this kind of stars, it has been identified that 80 to 90 percentage chance is there. It is filled with quarks only. So this is why we need to study about quark. One another important point is gluon. So we told that quarks combine together, 2 to 3 quarks will combine together, multiple quarks will combine together to form something else. So there should be some material which connects or which unites all the quarks. That is known as gluon. Gluon is the subatomic material, subatomic particle which unites all the quarks, combines all the quarks. So because nuclear force is very strong, quarks are always tightly bound to each other and they are not free. Even in vacuum, even in a vacuum empty space, if you introduce the quarks will not separate. Any other material will separate completely in vacuum, but quarks will not separate because the force that is holding it together is nuclear force. So too much information is there, I know, but each and every information is important. So go through it very well and understand it properly. Global Plastics Treaty happened recently. It is a failure, but even then we need to know about it so that in case you get a question in prelims, you can answer. One most important point, where did it happen? It happened in Ottawa, Canada. Totally 192 member countries deliberated in it. 1 week they kept talking about it, and their aim was to end plastic pollution. But the problem with their aim is that they did not just want to end plastic pollution, they want to halt the complete production of plastic. At present, is it practical? It is completely impractical. Their idea is that when we start talking about it, at some point we will reach to the end of it. But at present, it is impossible. So already 4 rounds of talks have happened since 2022, but it is not happening. They have formed an intergovernmental negotiating committee known as INC. So 4 rounds have happened. Recent round ended in Ottawa. Have they come up with any conclusion? They did not come up with any conclusion. What is India's stand? This is more important. India has told that to decide whether we should stop complete production of plastics is not in your hand. India has been telling that if we need to stop the manufacturing, it should be based on the nation's decision. You cannot conduct a very big global treaty and tell that we have to stop the production because there are too many people who are involved in manufacturing of plastic. What will they do for their life? So this is the stand India has taken. So recently there has been multiple news that income disparity is very high in India. Just for the top 1% of India's population is holding 40.1 percentage of total wealth. Top 1%, very less. Just 1% of people are holding 40.1 percentage of the total wealth of the country. So this shows high disparity. It has also been told that this disparity has been increasing in the recent times. But is it true? We have to find out. So the data that has been provided is the share of bottom 50 percentage in the total national income dropped. Earlier in 1982, it was 23.6 percentage. Now it is just 15 percentage. But in reality, when we talk about these kind of things, we need to talk about the real income. We need to talk about the growth and development in real income of the people. So World Inequality Lab has provided certain data. So this data is extremely important for your mains examination. World Inequality Lab has provided certain data in which it has been told that the total real income of bottom 50 percentage of India's population has increased 4 times between 1991 and 2022. From the year we uh, introduced the LPG reforms till 2022, the real income of the bottom 50 percentage have increased 4 times. But what is the problem? The problem is that the real income of bottom 50 percentage has increased multiple times. They are in a better position now, but the wealth of the rich people have also increased. So what should be the way forward? Way forward is very simple. There should be no favoritism to uh, any corporate at any point. The Competition Commission of India should be very radical in this. They should introduce high amount of competition in all field. There should be no monopoly. Whenever anyone has monopoly, every wealth will go to that particular person. When there are multiple organization, everything will be distributed. And better education, better development of manufacturing sector, better development of MSMEs. This will result in distribution of wealth. So that is the way forward which you can present in your answer to. That will be all for today. All the best. Study well, subscribe and like so that you will get the video recommendation every day.